Hello everybody, hope you're all well and welcome to the channel. In this video I thought I'd offer my thoughts and review my 2015 Honda CB500X. Now this is not going to be a review from a new bike perspective. This is no longer the current version of the CB500X. There's a newer model on the market, so if you are looking at this bike, it'll be from a used bike perspective. So, in short, what do I think of this bike? I absolutely love it. But as with any bike, there are things that work well and things that could be improved. So let's take a look at those first. Some of the things I'm about to mention can be improved through modification or accessories, but quite a few of them have actually already been addressed by Honda in the newer versions of this bike. So if any of these would be annoying to you, you may want to consider looking at that model instead. But the first thing on the list will be a gear indicator. Now this one isn't major, but it would be nice to have. After a couple of weeks of ownership, you probably won't even notice that it's not there, particularly as you can generally guess what gear the bike is in by how the bike is performing and also the sound it's making, but it would have been nice to have. For me, this bike has a first gear that is a little bit too short. Off-road, that's absolutely fine. On-road, however, which is where this bike is probably going to be used most of the time, it's a little bit short. So as I'm setting off and entering a corner, or let's say into a roundabout, I'm quite often looking for second gear mid-turn. The bigger issue with first gear for me though, is the bike can be a little bit snatchy at slower speeds. So if you are needing to manoeuvre the bike and be quite gentle, if you're not using the clutch, the throttle can be a little bit snatchy in first gear. Another thing would be I find the gearbox to be a little bit clunky. What I do tend to find occasionally is as I'm shifting from first to second, it misses second gear and gives me a false neutral. That could be the way I've got the levers positioned, but it does happen. Now, let's talk suspension. The suspension that comes on this bike generally is quite soft. On road, it's incredibly comfortable, but if you're going to take the bike off-road in any capacity, it's not really up to the challenge. What I did find though, particularly with the front forks, is when you brake quite hard, it does tend to dive as you're braking. So it gives you not the greatest stability if you're needing to brake quickly or coming down from speed with the front brake. The stock suspension generally is not really adjustable. You've got a little bit of adjustment with the rear shock, but nothing really with the bike. One thing that I did find because of that, and it's probably due to my weight and also where I had luggage, is I couldn't set the bike up properly for that load. And when I did a tour of Scotland a couple of years ago, when I actually went above 40 miles an hour, I found that the bike actually developed a wobble, and it was a little bit unsettling actually, but since I've had the suspension changed to the Rally Raid kit, that has gone away. So I've put that down to not really being able to set up the stock suspension correctly for me. Now, this next one I have actually resolved. For me, the footprint of the stand, the stock stand, is a little bit small, and it didn't really give me the confidence to leave the bike stood up anywhere, particularly as I did actually have the bike blow over. Since I've had the R&G foot on here, the bike has felt much more stable. Now this last one is more to do with the bike and how it was designed. And again, this can be resolved through a Rally Raid kit. And this really only comes into play if you are going to take the bike off-road. But the 17-inch front wheel does work well, but it's a little bit small for some of the applications that I'm now wanting to use the bike for. If you're wanting to take the bike on rougher ground, consider the newer bike or consider upgrading to the level 2 Rally Raid kit. So that's it for things that I think could be improved on the bike. But what do I love about this bike? To me, it's a small, adventure styled bike that can be adapted to numerous different conditions, whether that's touring, trail riding. There's an accessory or modification to be able to adapt this bike to that. If you get the chance as well, check out my video about mods and accessories that I've done to this bike. There'll be a link up here in the corner Also down in the description below if you are interested in all the bits and pieces that I've done to my bike. The bike is really economical. Whether I'm trail riding or on tour, I can generally get somewhere between 70 to 80 miles per gallon. Now, you also get a decent range with the bike as well. On average, I'll get 220 miles before the fuel indicator starts blinking at me to fill up, and I've probably got another 20, 30, maybe even 35 miles before I need to actually fill up because I'm empty. Along with being economical, the bike has long service intervals and it's also easy to maintain. But for me, the biggest draw to this bike is it's comfortable, it has enough power, it's easy to ride, but most important of all, it's fun to ride as well. So there you go. Some things that I don't like about the bike, some things that I do. But what are my final thoughts? Well, if you're considering getting one of these bikes, particularly one of the original used models now, just get it. You'll love the bike. I absolutely love mine. No matter if you're new to riding or if you're an experienced rider just looking for something easy and dependable, this is the bike for you. If you are considering one of these bikes, what things would I recommend you put on yours? Well, there's two things that I'd recommend, regardless of what application you're going to be using it for, on-road, off-road, touring, whatever. The first one would be the Barkbuster guards here. On numerous occasions they've saved my levers and they just give you that extra security of knowing that your levers are safe. The second thing I'd add, regardless of how you're going to use the bike, is actually the Rally Raid bash plate down here. Again, regardless of how you're going to use it, that becomes very handy for maintaining the bike. It's very easy to get a lift underneath so you can raise the front and the back of the bike together, and you've not got to mess around with any paddock stands or other methods of lifting the bike. So, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this review, hit that like button down below, consider subscribing. If you're thinking of getting this bike, or you've got one already, leave a comment down below and let us know your thoughts. And again, check out my video looking at the different mods and accessories I've done to this bike. The link will be up here or in the description as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.